Welcome back to Thrive Now, the podcast where we are turning big dreams into real strategies. Let me ask you this. Have you ever brushed off one of your skills as too simple to be valuable? Well, today's guest, Qetsiyah, is here to challenge that. She's a freelancer, creator, and founder of Unserious, and she's built a career around internet culture and helping creators monetize what they already know. In our conversation, we break down why your natural skills, things like organization, writing, project management, and even just keeping people on track, might be exactly what someone is willing to pay for. We'll also dive into the art of pre selling your services, finding your first clients, and why being visible matters more than being perfect. So, as you listen, keep this question in mind. What skill have I been underestimating that could actually earn me money? Let's dive into today's episode. Hey. So I'm going to kick it off. For those who don't know, I'm Deja White. I'm the founder of Breakroom Buddha. I talk all about career development with a sprinkle of life design. And you are watching the 4-day Thrive Now challenge. This is the fourth and final day. And every single day we talked a little bit about how you can level up in 2025 and make your dreams come true or your goals come true. Today we will be talking about money, how to get money, how to monetize the skills that you have. So I will kick it over to you.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here. For everyone, hi, my name is Qetsiyah. I know my name is like such a complicated thing and one of my most asked questions. But my name is Qetsiyah. I am the founder of Unserious, which is a community for the chronically online. And I'm also a freelancer, and I actually freelance and work with Stan. But I also work with creators just in general. Outside of that, I work with creators and I help them monetize their skills and just social media and content planning. And I was recently co-nominated for a Shorty Award because I was working with one of the creators. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's exciting. And we can get into the Shorty Award too if you want. I don't know if many people even know what that is, but it's
Yeah.
really cool in the industry.
Yes, exactly. It's like all about like content and media and creators. And Jade, if you guys know Jade, on LinkedIn, she basically got nominated and I got listed as, one of the people that contributed, because I help her with content strategy and things like that. So that was really cool. It's like a really cool career moment, to get recognized for work that you love doing. So yeah, that was really cool.
I love that. So that kicks us into our first question a little bit. I want to learn a little bit about your passion for internet culture and how you turned that into like a thriving career or freelancing career. How did you first realize that all your binging on the internet and your consumption on the internet was monetizable, and that brands and people needed those skills?
Honestly, I have been like on the internet since I was like 10 years old. It's been a long
Uh-huh.
time. And I already knew back then that I wanted to be a content creator, which is so crazy. But back then it wasn't really like a job or anything. And then I think around the pandemic, like in 2020, I saw this girl pop up on my For You page because everyone was on TikTok and she was talking about being a social media manager. And I thought it was so crazy because I had been doing like social media for so long. Like when I was younger, I was working with brands and apps and things like that. But I didn't know people were making money off of it. I didn't know it was like a career. I was always kind of doing it for free. And that's when I was like, I want to pursue that. I want to, become a social media manager or work in social media. And yeah, and I guess the rest is history.
I'm very similar to you. I grew up consuming a lot of TV to the point where people were like, this show comes on at the same exact time as this other show. How do you even have time to watch all these shows? So I was similar. I love TV so much, and I was like, I'm going to turn this into my job. And then it came like I was a Tumblr girl, a
Oh,
Quizilla
yes.
girl. So it's like, how can I like work in magazines to create quizzes all day? So yeah, I'm
Oh my
like
God.
you. I'm
Same.
like, how can I turn all these passions and things that I like into a job? So I'm
Hmm.
with you. I feel that. um, so some people think that you need a lot of resources to make money online. A lot of resources, a lot of skills that they have to keep getting and upskilling. What's your take on that? Do you think people need a lot of resources to get started making money online? Or can they just use the
No.
skills that they already have?
Exactly. You can use the skills that you already have. I feel like people underestimate how valuable their skills are, even if it's something super simple. I mean, simple. I say simple quotation marks because for me it's not simple, but for someone else they might think like, oh, it's super simple. But for example, like you have a lot of people who are like virtual assistants and they, reply to emails and keep you organized and things like that. And some people might see that as something that's so simple because they're like, oh, I answer emails all the time. But having someone who can organize that for you, like people will pay for efficiency and people will pay for skill. And I mean, I always say like that's why you have Uber Eats, right? Like it's not because you can't go and pick up your food. It's just because it's more efficient. And so if you start thinking that way of like, hey, like what is a skill that I have to make things more efficient for other people, you will see that you can make money from literally anything online. So,
Oh, I think about that sometimes. Like, you can even localize it. Yes, Uber Eats exists, but like if you live in a small town where it takes like 40 minutes to get your Uber Eats, you can become the local town Uber Eats.
exactly.
Or yeah, so I'm like, just because the Uber Eats exists or the WAG is like the walking service, just
Yeah.
because that exists doesn't mean you can't start your own dog walking service either. So I love that insight. So, what are some, you mentioned like virtual assistants. What are some other underrated skills that some people might have? Just like it might be a natural skill, might be something they picked up along the way. But what are some like underrated skills that you've been seeing that people have been monetizing?
Anything to do like writing, for example. I know that people think that it's such an underrated skill, but like you can make money from like writing, being a copywriter and just get better at it. Like it just, if you like have something that you can naturally do that you naturally enjoy, just get better at it. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to get better at it. Like, for example, when I started with social media, I knew like, social media in a way that like as a consumer, but then I learned how to know it as a marketer. And so, it's like kind of a little bit of a different experience, but you already have the base understanding. Another thing is people who know how to organize things is a very big thing that people like don't know how to do. Um, so I would say like organizing, like people who do travel itineraries. There's so many things that people have no knowledge of that they think everyone knows, but actually not everyone knows. Like they definitely have a above average knowledge of. So if you're that kind of person, like you can 1000% like go for that kind of route when it comes to making money online.
Yeah. I sort of fell into like the organization operation side of things in my career. So I'll dip and dabble in content, but I also
Mhm.
always seem to get hired for operations work. So I'm like, this is really hot. A lot of companies need someone to help them organize and get their processes
Exactly.
together. So
Exactly.
yeah, I put it in the same boat as like virtual assistant work a little bit.
Mhm.
But it might be like a little bit more on your plate. Like you're not answering emails, instead like you're organizing assets, which the
Exactly.
team
Project
continuously uses.
management,
Yep. All of it, all of it.
like,
Project
yeah,
management will always be hot. People don't people don't like to keep track of their
exactly.
projects.
Exactly. And that's me personally, like as a creator, and I am rehiring someone to like help me manage my projects because I have so many moving pieces. And I'm like, can someone just like, if I just brain dump on you, can you just like organize it for me? That, and then the thing is like people might think like, oh, it's not like a skill, but like I pay for that. Like I would pay for someone to just organize my stuff and tell me like, hey, like this is what you need to do by then in the milestone. Yes, I'd pay for that. I would pay for
Yeah.
that. So it's definitely a skill that um I highly value, and so many others too.
Yeah. The way that I look at it, I'm very similar. So I had a couple of projects. I was working on like my email newsletter. And then I was working on some affirmation journals, and I was like, I need a creative assistant to like help me
Right?
stay on track. So like, yeah, even if you're in marketing or if you're in something that's very niche and specific, is chances are a creator, a coach, an entrepreneur, someone who just has some side projects, they're going to need some kind of assistant who
Yeah.
gets who gets all of the stuff so that they can like keep going and building what they already have going on, and they just need
Hmm.
someone following them along and helping them stay on track. So yeah, I'm with you.
Exactly.
Being a creator can be tough. So like creators need full teams a lot of times.
Yeah. A lot of
Um
times, yes.
yeah. So what are your thoughts on people just like shooting their shots to creators?
Do it. I had like a couple of meetings with creators over the past week, and a lot of them are like, "Oh yeah, like so and so reached out to me, so I'm gonna start working with them for XYZ thing." So one, they need help 1000%. Like they're always like, "Oh my God, I need help for XYZ," like whether it's editing, whether it's responding to emails, like all those things. And also they're very likely to hire people that like reach out to them that already watch their content. You know what I mean? Because they're
Yeah.
already familiar with the kind of content that they do. So I feel like there's like a level of understanding there, and a lot of creators do that. They just literally hire people who DM them and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's work together.
Yeah.
So do it. Shoot your
Yeah.
shot.
I'm like, someone DM me some brand deals and then I'll hire some assistants to help me do that. That's how. So don't DM me, please. Not right now. Okay. I love that. So if someone doesn't know where to start, so like they're sitting there today, they have their set of skills. What are some key things that they can look for within themselves to let them know that maybe that skill is monetizable or the market is demanding that particular skill that they have?
Because everything can be like monetizable. I don't think you need to overthink the fact whether or not there's demand. There's always going to be demand for it. You have to know, like, for yourself if you want to do it. You
Mm.
know, like, that's the thing. I feel like kind of reversing that, because if you want to, like, if you're really good at cleaning, there's a market for people who need to clean stuff, whether it's cleaning cars, cleaning houses, cleaning out closets. You know what I mean? Like, it's not whether there's like a demand, because there always is demand for whatever skill that you have. It's what you want to do and who you want to do it for, and then just kind of getting started in that sense. I wouldn't necessarily say like, like obviously brainstorm what you like to do and then see how you're gonna monetize it. But there's always gonna be space for you.
Yeah. I love that outlook. It's a more positive, optimistic outlook, and I think a
Mhm.
lot of people they move a little bit more towards the negative, or they get in their head a little bit about taking action or reaching out to someone. You never know what someone's looking for. So
Exactly.
just by saying, "Hey, I do this thing," someone's like, "Oh, I need that thing. I'm so glad you reached out because I don't have to search for that
Exactly.
thing."
Exactly. Like, for
Yeah.
example, like right now in Canada, it's snowing like crazy. Go ask your neighbors if you can shovel their snow. I
Yeah.
promise you, someone's going to be like, yes, especially like elderly people or just people who work like 24/7. They don't have time to go like at freaking like 7 p.m. and just go shovel snow. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be, and they're probably going to tell the next neighbor and the next neighbor, and there you go. In like a small amount of time, you have like a snow shoveling business.
Exactly. Oh, okay. You brought up something that I love to talk about, and it's like side hustles or like people have been calling it like side quest online. I love, I love digging into like random side things in one season and then just being like, all right, the season's over. I don't want to do this anymore. So for folks who might be a little scared to put themselves out there and be like a side hustler and do multiple things all year long, what are some advice or some thoughts you have for them?
I would say like maybe I am a side hustler. Like I feel like people, okay. And that's so crazy because I literally had like a conversation with another creator like earlier before, that the beauty about doing your own thing and being an entrepreneur is that you can try things out and be like, actually, I don't like it, and move on. Like
Yeah.
I've done so many things. I've
Yeah.
done web design, graphic design. I've done branding. I've done UGC. I've done so many different things at different stages that I just kind of tried out and wanted to upskill or figure out if I liked it or not. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Don't put too much pressure on, having to stick with one thing. If you try something and you don't like it, just stop, and then just try something else. And, eventually you're going to narrow down what it is that you like to do and what you don't like to do. Don't be afraid to like try things out. It's not gonna, I know that sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to like, show people that I quit, but I feel like knowing when to quit is also a skill. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's something that you need to know when it's like, okay, enough is enough. I've given it my all. Let me move on to something else. So yeah, don't be afraid to, you know, try some things out. I've tried so many different things, so many different things.
Me too. I feel like we're very similar because I did the web design. People still come to me for web design. I'm like, how much of it do you got together and how much do I got to do? Like, that's the way that I treat web design now. I'm like, I can do it, but like, I don't want to spend my whole day on your website. I've done the graphic
Exactly.
design, the t-shirt designs, I've done calendar design. Like, I'm just designing it up. I'm like, a lot of people think you have to go to school for all these things. I self-taught myself a lot of these skills. So I really do think that people, like you said, can dip and dabble, teach themselves things if they're passionate about it or if they're interested in it. You don't have to be passionate about it, in my perspective. Try it out. Become a professional side hustler.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? So I mentioned passion. I believe I really have to be passionate about something and curious about it at the same time in order for me to pursue it. What are your thoughts? Do you pursue things you're curious about or passionate about, or is it something else?
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, I'm just like a creative. So I like to create in whichever form that kind of comes. Like, for example, I love bringing people together for like a project and then see the project come to life. Hence why now I feel like doing partnership is really cool because I get to do that. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I'm very blessed and lucky to do what I like, but it's also because I pursued what I liked in my interest. And it's like, I think someone had mentioned to me, that, you know, they don't like to work, but because they have to work, they don't mind doing this thing that they're doing right now. And I feel like that kind of gave me like perspective. What is something that you don't mind doing, even though you don't like to work? Because ideally, we'd all like not work and live, freely and do whatever. But realistically, we have to work. So it's like, what do you not mind doing, in the time being when it comes to,
Yeah.
your job or whatever it is that you want to do.
That makes sense. That's why I like to talk a little bit about life design when I talk about career tips and career development work, because I feel like if people are naturally using the skills and talents that they're given, then they fall into that category of I don't mind doing this thing because I feel energized while I'm doing it. I don't know if we're there yet. If a lot of people have realized that they'll be energized if they're doing things that they're naturally gifted at, but that's my hope. So yeah, I'm glad the person that you were talking to kind of connected the dots for themselves in that situation. Another question that I have is about pre-selling your services. So say someone is starting that dog walking business, a shoveling business, but they don't have the tools yet. So they don't have the shovel. Maybe the dog walker doesn't have the leashes yet. What are some like creative ways they can like pre-sell their skills or services without going out and buying a ton of stuff that they need to actually operate that business?
I feel like entrepreneurship is such a journey where you learn a lot of lessons and a lot of things. And, I was talking to a lot of like founders, and one of them told me, like, if you want to start a business, like, try to find a way to start it with the lowest amount of cost to still be able to provide the service without having to invest a lot of money up front. So for example, when it comes to snow shoveling, realistically, everyone has a shovel in their house. So would you have to buy a shovel? No. You can just tell people that you're shoveling and they have a shovel and you can just like use their shovel, right? So that already eliminates the cost. And then also know for yourself how much you're willing to invest as well, because I feel like everyone has different budgets. What are tools and resources that you can have available to start your business? I feel like as a student, for example, there's a lot of resources that are available. I remember when I used to go to a college and I was studying art, design, all that stuff, you could rent out equipment. So maybe that's something that you can look into. Like maybe you want to do a photography business, but you don't have the best tools. Like, is there any way you could like rent something out or look on Facebook Marketplace? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different ways that you can always get started. That's kind of what I would say is like try to find the lowest cost possible where you can still deliver the service. And look at the resources and things that you already have available in your vicinity, because there's so many things that you sometimes don't even think about.
Yeah. I always tell people colleges and libraries. Libraries,
Yes.
like I recently found out that libraries rent out like passes to the zoo and the aquarium and places
Yeah.
like that. I don't know if
Mhm.
everyone's library does it, but some people's do. Some of them have sewing machines and podcast equipment. And I'm like,
Yeah.
libraries are underestimated. And so are university campuses, because like, look,
Yes.
become friends, start volunteering on the college campuses around your city, and you can get some access to some stuff. Like
No,
that's called
exactly. They
being
have so many
super
resources.
resourceful. Yeah. So I know you talked a little bit about, so in like our snow shoveling example, going to your neighbors, and that's where your first clients will come from. What about someone who might be starting something online, or starting something in their local community? What are some ways that they can tap into their community creatively, maybe, where they can like start to get maybe their first one or two clients?
When I first started freelancing, one thing that I did was like I really narrowed down kind of the businesses that I wanted to work with. So for me, it was very much like working in beauty and fashion. And so it's so easy to like look up local businesses within that niche and just reach out. And that's what I did. Like I literally just reached out to them and was like, "Hey, I'm a social media manager. Here's my portfolio. This is what I can do. Would you mind meeting?" Usually back then I was like meeting people like in person as well. Like they love that kind of human vibe to it. So I would go and just like reach out to people. And yeah, that's it. Literally, it's literally that simple. You just like go and reach out and people are like, "Yes, actually I need help for whatever it is that you were pitching." And that's how I got my first client. So
I love that.
you can also like cold call. I feel like people oftentimes forget how easy it is to just ask, you know,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that myself too. Sometimes when I talk to other like founders, they're like, for example, I was talking to a friend of mine and she founded this dating app and they raised so much money. And I was like, how did you guys like raise that much money for like your app? And she's like, well, I just DM'd people and I asked if I could pitch and they just gave me money. Like I literally just asked. And I'm like,
I
that's
love that.
crazy. Like it's literally just ask.
I love that. Yeah, me and my friend tried to start a dating app and we got meetings with investors too. Like it's actually kind of really easy to
Exactly.
get meetings with investors. Yeah.
I mean, they're looking for their next thing.
Yeah.
So, they're always kind of open to it.
Yeah, I think we both like identified something that's key, that like you have to find people who are in search of the thing that you are trying
Hmm.
to give. So like
Yeah,
job titles matter, like investors, their main job is to deploy money. So like if you have
exactly.
something that they need and they want to deploy money and see a return on their money, of course they'll take the meeting because they never know, it's an opportunity for them. So same thing
Exactly.
with every single thing that you have, or whatever skill that you have or idea that you have. There's someone looking for the thing. So I want to talk a
Exactly.
little bit about like the operations piece, because people don't realize like once you
Oh,
dive
I
into
suck at that.
monetization, yeah.
But it's okay. I think I can give some pointers. It's
You've
okay.
been around. You've been around the block.
Been
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
Quick pause. I know we are having a really great conversation, but I want to share this with you. Have you ever read something online and thought, that could be me, but I don't know where to start? Well, meet Scouta. It's my new career discovery tool that turns anything you're curious about into real opportunities. Highlight a sentence on a website, and Scouta will show you jobs, scholarships, career paths, and even people you can connect with that do that exact job that you're interested in. Your future isn't just in your head, it's in your browser. So, the waitlist is officially open for Scouta. I am dropping this super soon, and I want to make sure that you get on this waitlist. So, grab a spot on my waitlist by going to bit.ly/Scouta, SCOUTA-waitlist. WAITLIST to grab your spot. This extension is guaranteed to turn your curiosity into your next big career move and career roadmap. Can't wait to see all of you join the waitlist.
People underestimate, like, once you actually monetize a thing, now you need like processes in place. You might need to hire people to help. What are some tools that you've used to help manage the operations of the things that you are monetizing?
1000% Notion. I feel like Notion is just that girl. It's that girl. I cannot live without Notion. Um, I love anything like AI, like ChatGPT is my bestie now. She even has a name, which is crazy. Her name is Nova. Um, I also love using things for meetings, for example. Like I have meetings. Whenever I have meetings, I use like an AI note taker and I record all my meetings, which makes it so much easier when I have to go back. And I'm like, because sometimes I have ideas that come up while I'm talking and I don't write it down. And so being able to like go back and be like, okay, there it is. That's another thing. Also when it comes to, I mean, it depends on like what kind of freelancing you do, but I would say like anything that allows you to send out invoices, like for example, like QuickBooks can like, keep track of all of your expenses and things like that. And so, that's really good. But, I also sometimes work with clients outside of Canada. I'm based in Canada, by the way. And so making things easier for them to pay. So I like to use Wise is like a really big one that I love to use because I can get like bank accounts from that specific country. And so they don't have to do like international fees and all that stuff. I used to use Honeybook when it came to like freelancing with my clients and keep everything in track. But now when it comes to like freelancing, I love using, for example, Contra, which is amazing. Love them. I hope we can partner. But I love using Contra for like freelancing jobs and starting contracts and even hiring people sometimes. Like I found my designer on there and it's been great. I would say like digital storefront, Stan, of course. It makes it so easy to like create a digital product and, sell it and do all of that stuff. So, whatever you can use to make things easier for you, I would say do it. But I would also like not get into the trap of like getting too many tools at the same time. Like really try to like clear it out every like twice a year or something. Like right now I'm like reviewing all the tools that I'm using to make sure that I'm not spending unnecessary money. So when you have tools like Stan where everything is like in one, you don't really have to spend as much money on other things. So like your margin for profit is a lot higher. So I would say like always kind of double check. But for me, like an AI note taker, something to track my expenses or send invoices and things like that is like a really big thing. And then something to manage my projects, as well as like obviously communicate, like any kind of communication. So for me, it's like Gmail mainly. But once you start hiring a team, for example, I would say something like Slack would be really good. But don't go over. You don't need like 50,000 tools. I mean, at least not for me at this stage. And emails. If you have a newsletter, have something for emails. but try to keep it less than 10 maybe. I think like having more than that is a little bit excessive and you probably need to like reshuffle things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like my opinion. Maybe
Yeah.
less than 10 tools would be nice, depending
Yeah,
on what
I'm
you're
with
doing.
you. I was just using some tools and like, these all do the same thing. I need to
Right?
cancel some stuff.
You need to like narrow things down, yeah.
Let's cancel this. I'll tell you a little bit about my tool stack that I like to use. So I've tried a ton. I would say for like landing pages or websites, you can use something like a Beehive now, because
Mm-hmm.
they kind of make it easy for you to have like email and landing page in one.
Hmm.
Canva is also another
Oh
one
yeah.
you
Oh
can
my God,
use
I
that
forgot
as a
her.
landing. You can use Canva as like a landing page.
For
Canva
everything.
completely replaced like Adobe products for me. Like I grew up on Adobe. Like
Same.
that was everything. And then like the beginning of my college career, like I don't even know how I found out about Canva, but I'm like, ooh, it's Canva. Ooh, I don't have to
Right?
like you look up tutorials to use it. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Canva has been there for a while. I use Honeybook too. Honeybook has been pretty cool for me. So I concur. I like it. I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't know. Reach out to me if you have specific questions about tools because I feel like
Yeah,
I've tried so many and like some of them I'm like I got to give up. Some of them I'm like I'll keep it for this season.
exactly. But also again, it really depends on what you're freelancing in. At the end of the day, you just need an email. I feel like if
Yeah.
you're just getting started from scratch, just get an email. You know, like you don't need all those crazy things. And as you grow, you're gonna start like wanting to get things faster, but get an email and just know how people are gonna pay you. Those are the two most important things. And then try, get an AI note taker and things like that. But like, it's really not necessary to get started. You can record your
Yeah.
meetings and ask for transcripts from Google. You don't need an AI note taker. But it's just, it really depends on what you're doing. So don't feel pressured to invest in all those tools.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Sorry, we don't want to we don't want to pressure you into buying tools. So, I want to talk a little bit about maybe following in your footsteps. If you could go back and give yourself advice from when you were first starting, what's something that you would tell yourself or someone who might be in a similar position as you?
Would say I would tell myself what my mom told me all the time that I didn't get until after was you need to be visible. Like, don't be afraid
Mm.
to put yourself out there. I know now, like, I'm a lot more confident and I'm naturally an introvert. I am an introvert. I literally, for the first like 12 years of my life, I did not talk. No one heard me talk. So I'm very much like introverted. I don't like to be the center of attention. I don't really like doing all those, like, it's not necessarily the thing that like I'm the most comfortable in. So I feel like doing this really puts me outside of my comfort zone. But a piece of advice would be like, put yourself out there because every single time I have put myself out there, I have gotten such amazing opportunities. And even like this, like being able to come on here and like talk to you and even having the audience that I have on LinkedIn is because I put myself out there. It's not because I was hiding and was waiting for people to just discover me. Don't wait to be discovered. Put yourself out there. Like you need to be visible. And I feel like that's my kind of my theme also for this year is just to be more visible. And so we're going ham on content this year.
Me too, girl. I'm with you. Look, I'm similar. I feel like I'm a extroverted introvert. Like I like to
Yeah.
show up, but I don't like to like be loud on camera. Like it's just
Hmm.
something about it. I'm like, ugh. I don't know.
Right?
But yeah, I feel you. This is our year. This is our year to show up. I love
Right.
that.
Exactly.
Um I have one more question.
Hey.
I really need people to understand that sometimes you have to do free work to get paid work. What is
Hmm.
your take on that? Do you have experience where you were you were doing something for free and you could have been paid for it, but it opened up doors for you?
Yeah, I think this is always what I tell people is like for me, whenever I do like any kind of work, any type of job, opportunity, whatever, it's always like very calculated. And for me, it's because, especially when I first got started and when we were talking earlier about, like when you don't have money to do something, like you can either, whenever you want to get into something, obviously you need to learn and you need a stepping stone and you need to invest something. You can either invest your time or you can invest money. You know what I mean? Those are the
Mm-hmm.
two things that you can do. So for me, because I come from a low income family and, I didn't have money back then, for me, the easiest way to get things done was to invest my time to learn certain skills. So when I first started social media, working at an agency, I did not get paid for that. Um, it was literally me investing my time, but I knew that me investing my time, I was getting things in return. Like I was learning on the job, and for me, it was worth it. You know what I mean? So always weigh in, like what you're getting in return. I would never do anything that doesn't provide me some kind of return, whether it's like emotional satisfaction, whether it's like monetary satisfaction, like whether it's like skill, like upskilling or something like that. So in that sense, always kind of weigh the pros and cons and always know for yourself like what you're getting out of it. Like don't just do free work to do free work. Like that doesn't make any sense. You're doing free work because you're getting something in return that you can't afford to pay for. That's how I see it.
I never thought about that. You're doing it in exchange for something that you can't afford to miss out on, or you can't afford
Yeah.
to miss. I always think about like that Denzel Washington meme, like I gotta leave with something. Like whatever situation I'm in,
Exactly.
I gotta leave with something. I can't just be here.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, well, we are gonna close this out because this was fun. We were just chatting and the time flew by. But how can people find you? I know you have a podcast. I know you have a blog coming up.
Yes. Oh my
Like
gosh.
what are the way? Oh gosh, I'm stressing you out. So,
No, it's
what
okay.
are
It's okay.
what are some ways that people can just stay tapped into you? Whether it's one of those platforms that you have, or if it's one of your social media platforms.
Yes. So in terms of social media, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm always kind of yapping on there. Also Threads. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with
I
Threads
like
and I used to talk,
Threads.
right? And it's just yeah, it's just my name. Like it's Qetsiyah. Like it's and then Qetsiyah. That's like the username. And that you can find me on that under that username on most platforms. I am starting a YouTube very soon, so I'm really, really, really excited. So if you're into like career marketing, like kind of those kinds of conversations that we're having right now, make sure to subscribe. It's Qetsiyah or Qetsiyah Jacobson. And yeah, you can find me everywhere. And if you want to follow Unserious, we're relaunching very soon. First newsletter, should be out in February. So if you want to learn about all things internet culture and things like that, make sure you follow us on there. So that's where
I
you can find
love
me.
it. And I love that we got to do this. We are very, very similar, I would say. So yes, I love that we got to do this. I hope it was helpful for everyone.
So, after listening to today's episode, how are we feeling? I know that we dived into so much and I don't want you to be overwhelmed, but I hope that it got you rethinking the value of your skills. Here's one big reminder that I want you to take away from today's episode. What feels too small or obvious to you might be life-changing to someone else. I'm going to say that one more time because I don't think people get this or understand just how monumental the skills that you already have could be for someone else. What feels small or obvious to you might be life-changing for someone else. So I want all of us to get out of our comfort zones and start sharing what we do, telling other people what we do, what we can do, and actually doing the things that we say that we do. People pay for efficiency. They also pay for organization, creativity. They pay so that they can save time in their busy lives. Things that you may already be doing every single day may be worth a ton of money or a little bit of money, some money, especially if it's a side hustle. It doesn't really matter how much money. If you are struggling and need a job, or you want to explore side hustles, then look into your skill toolbox. You never know what someone else might be looking for. So here's your reflection of the week. What's one skill you've been underestimating, and how can you put it out there in a visible way? I would love for you to let me know. Of course, I have a dream database, so share it in my dream database. The link will be in the show notes. If you want to submit the skills and the things that you do or the dreams that you have, of course, you can always submit a voice note with your insights, your dreams, or even a side hustle idea. That would be perfect for this episode. I will feature listeners' stories as I receive them in future episodes, because your voice belongs to this movement just as much as all your ideas. And you never know who might be listening, who wants to collaborate, or you never know who I know and who I will bring on to have a conversation with around making some dreams a reality. So remember this: visibility creates opportunities always. So let's keep thriving, and let's thrive together. Until next time, see ya.